The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Nothing like a little generational trauma to spoil your marriage, right? Or your dad joining in your bachelor party. Alas, Amber and Scott discuss this and more after watching Ex-Husbands. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What do you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Don't get any bright ideas.
What do you mean? I'm sure that's a joke, but I don't get it.
Too many people leaving their spouse. Don't.
Oh, yeah. Ha 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 ha. Inside jokes, folks, here, people. Okay. This episode, we are talking about the movie. What?
Ex-Husbands.
Ex-Husbands. Manhattan dentist Peter Pierce is facing a midlife crisis after his wife of 35 years leaves him. On the spur of the moment, he books a flight to Tulum, Mexico, only to crash his son's bachelor party. A heartwarming comedy, blah, 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 blah. So this was listed as a comedy, first of all, and I thought I was booking us to see a comedy. I don't consider this a comedy.
Yeah, comedies generally involve laughter.
Yeah, no.
More than like twice.
Definitely not a comedy. And actually, this description kind of stinks because it wasn't a spur-of-the-moment trip. And he didn't crash his son's bachelor party. So this description sucks. So anyway, let's on with the show.
Yes, on with the show.
So I have a lot of feelings about this movie on several different storylines. And one is the storyline of the very first scene in the film where the main character, Peter, is sitting with his dad and they're about ready to watch a play. And his dad says, I broke up with your mom, life's short. I could have another 30 years in me and I want to see what happens. And then we learn in the conversation, he's 85 and he was like, I don't want to be married anymore. And I just don't want to do it anymore. So the rest of the film, amongst other storylines, is Peter forcing his will on his dad about being married. And I had a lot of issues with this. I did not like Peter and his behavior about this at all. So obviously Peter wasn't happy about his dad breaking up with his mom, but you know what? His dad's 85. His dad's going to do what he's want to do. I doubt he made that decision impulsively. So, and even if he did, he's entitled to it. So throughout the film, we see Peter's dad not wearing his wedding ring and Peter forcing his dad to wear the wedding ring, even though they're no longer together, even though they're not married, even after the mom dies.
Yeah, I was about to say, the first time we see him, quote unquote, try to force the wedding ring on him, the wife was already dead.
Yeah, so within 6 years of that conversation of Peter's dad wanting to live his life, we see that he's in a nursing home. And Peter's mom has died, and Peter takes the ring and he puts it on his dad saying, Mom would like to see you wearing this as she's looking down on us. And then even after Peter's dad dies, he takes the ring, which the dad had taken off again, and put it on his dead dad's finger. And then once his dad is cremated, he basically has them take off a hand to be cremated separately. So then, even though his dad was very clear he didn't want to be married with his wife, Peter's mom, that she was in the family mausoleum, that he wanted to be cremated and scattered. But Peter makes sure that his dad loses a hand, it gets cremated, so then he can abscond with the ashes, put them in a box, put them in the mausoleum with his mom, the guy's wife, forever and eternity. I am appalled.
History is written by the winners, or in this case, the living.
What does that mean?
It means once he's dead, if you out-survive him, you can do what you want because he's dead.
Well, he didn't listen to him while he was alive, and then actually went as far to do the opposite of what he wanted in the afterlife. You honor people's last wishes. And I know people always think, oh, well, you know, dad would have wanted this, or mom would have wanted this, or whatever. Dad or mom wants whatever the heck they said they wanted. Stop making decisions for other people just because you can, because they died. And if they're still alive, don't make them freaking live some life for you, because if his dad was 85, that means Peter was at least probably 60 or so, which I think the actor is actually older than that. And if he's not married anymore, if he doesn't want to be married anymore, he doesn't want to be with his wife anymore, stop making him wearing the frickin' ring. This really upset me.
I can tell you are heated.
Well, I am. It's just, stop imposing your will on people. Especially, like, gosh, his dad just wanted to live his life. He didn't know how much longer he had left.
Well, he thought he had 30 years. Okay, then maybe 25, and it turns out he had like 6.
Yeah, and after that, once you end up in a nursing home and you have an oxygen tank and you're stuck and you can't go places, your life is not the same. So really, really disliked Peter's character just because he kept forcing his will on his dad, and his dad just wanted to live his life. Now, obviously, back to your joke and the fact of the couple in this film, which was the primary plot line here.
The couple?
The couple, yeah. Nicky and his wife, Thea.
Oh.
Come
yeah.
on.
What about it?
Well, come on. I'm not carrying the whole show here.
What about it?
Well, you said at the beginning, like, don't get any ideas.
Well, no, just because the film's called Ex-Husbands.
Yeah, well, it's called that for a reason.
Speaking of, I don't know if I would want for all of eternity my plaque to say father, grandfather, ex-husband.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that Peter's character put that on his dad's tombstone. I thought he would have said husband, because he was so bound and determined that he was going to still be married and still wear the ring or whatever. So the fact that he said ex-husband, I thought was kind of strange, but I guess you have to make the movie title make sense, which was ex-husbands.
And we don't actually know that they got a divorce. Maybe the wife died before they could get divorced.
Well, he didn't want to be with her anymore.
Yes.
He was tired of being with her, and he wanted to move on.
Yes. He wanted to see what other octogenarian fish were out in that sea.
Well, I think he just wanted to see what everything else in the sea was.
I mean, it's an interesting topic of conversation because, like, you do hit a certain point in life, I feel like, where I feel like nobody wants to die alone. And if you're making a decision at 85 to separate, you're either okay with dying alone, or you think there's a good chance that you're going to find that somebody else.
I think just nobody wants to fall in their home and have nobody discover their body for a couple of days or weeks. That's all.
Are they specifically falling like in the bathtub?
No, I mean
Okay.
they could go like Gene Hackman and his wife. Something random happens and then nobody finds them.
Yeah, we still don't even know what happened there.
Yeah.
Now you've just dated the episode.
Yeah, I did, but also too, I didn't do it by a holiday. I mean, you either know this news or you don't know this news. And I did think twice about before bringing it up. Anyway, so our other plot line here is about Peter's son who is supposed to get married, and he's going on his bachelor party, or having his bachelor party in Mexico. And he and his fiancée Thea have been going out for 6 years. And initially...
Did it say 6 years?
Yeah, it was 6 years. They said it a couple times.
The hell are you taking 6 years to pop a question and
Well, I don't know that it took 6 years
finally
to pop
getting
a
around to
question.
it?
I mean, people are busy. Maybe a question was popped and things were happening and people have lives. Anyway, so she gets a job offer and she wants to move to Philadelphia. And he was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to Philadelphia, and hemmed and hawed. And while he was hemming and hawing, she basically realized that she didn't care if he came, and she wanted the job, and she was going to go and take this job and start a new life. And by the time he came around, she had moved on.
Peter did have a very good point, though, that Philadelphia built a statue to a loser. And that's kind of who Philadelphia is as a person.
Okay.
I'm a Dallas sports fan, so, F Philadelphia.
Okay. So, obviously, for folks that don't know, he's talking about the Rocky statue in Philadelphia. So, they are going to split up, but there is still this bachelor party that his younger brother is throwing for him. So, they still go, but knowing that there is no wedding, there is no future, there is a letter that needs to be written that talks about why there isn't going to be a wedding. And he keeps putting off writing this letter because obviously it's a very difficult letter to write. So the thing about this is the character was, he was 35. He worked at just a local restaurant. He was a waiter, and he just wasn't doing anything with his life. And when he finally told his friends that were at the bachelor party, they're like, "Oh yeah, saw that coming." And nobody was surprised that Nick and Thea weren't getting married. And I mean, what would you do if you were in Nick's shoes and with Nick's issues of, just really 35 and still trying to figure out what he's doing with his life?
I mean, I feel like you can be at just about any stage of your life and still feel like you haven't figured it out yet. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to stop trying to figure it out? I mean, if you found someone that you love and you want to be with, and you love them and want to be with them, and you... But it sounds like he had a lot of issues he realized, and like he just wasn't caring enough to resolve them. And
what do you mean? I don't.
I mean, mental health issues, and
he was on medication for depression.
Yeah, I mean, like he's doing coke and
no. There was coke in the room that someone else was doing.
Well,
the dad was like,
it sounded like he might have been involved as well, but I don't know.
I mean, the reality is that he wasn't going anywhere. He was 35. She had this great job opportunity, and when she was presented with it, and he was hemming and hawing, and she realized, like, why am I backburning my life for this? I have this great opportunity. I'm going to go and pursue the opportunity. So, when it comes from a what would you do standpoint, there are certainly points in relationships where people go in different directions, or people don't want the same things. And when you have a divide like that, like sometimes one person to the other needs to step up in some way to make a relationship survive.
Yeah, no, they do. And if you don't step up, then maybe that's... I mean, if nobody's stepping up for a relationship, that should show you what it's probably actually worth.
Well, and I think she did, in the fact that, hey, I have this opportunity, we should move to Philadelphia. Like, she was trying to make their lives better and get this better job and whatnot. And it's not like she was asking him to give up anything. He worked at a restaurant as a waiter. So, I mean, there was really no downside for him, to leave that.
I mean, except moving to Philadelphia.
Yes. Yes.
Y'all in audio land can't see the exasperation on her face when she says that, but I can.
So, back to the main character of Peter. So throughout all of this, he's dealing with his own divorce after 35 years. And there's a scene in there where their two sons are acting a little exasperated. And he says, your mom and I had a fun time raising you and blah, blah, blah. And his wife, their mom, gives a look like,
her face
yeah,
did not
no, it was not fun.
Her face did not concur with his statement.
Yeah, and it's really a good reminder of the fact that your reality isn't necessarily somebody else's reality, especially when it comes to things like that. Because, if you're the one changing the diapers and going to the parent-teacher meetings and helping kids with homework, and the other person just kind of pops in for, the fun stuff and then pops back out. Yeah, it probably is fun for you, but it's not for the person that has to be there all the time and do all the work.
Yeah,
It's a work.
my wonderful marriage is countered by your living nightmare.
What's that?
Well, what I see as a wonderful marriage, you probably see as a living hell.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We're married. You know, this ring thing?
Okay.
And I'm saying that I see it as wonderful, but you probably see it as a living hell.
Oh, our reality?
Yes, our reality. Yes, baby!
So what would you do in any of these characters' shoes where one person is pulling away, whether it's Peter's dad or Peter's wife or Peter's son's fiance?
I think you fight like hell and make a marriage work, and you do whatever it takes to make sure that you're happy when it's all. I mean, in fairness, you really should. I mean, both sides should. If you've got to the point that you got married and you've been married for a while, if you've got problems, I mean, you really should try to work them out before they become like so bad that like fixing it won't work. Like if you can get resentful of someone if you don't try to get these issues resolved when they're smaller issues, because if you don't, they're eventually just going to get so big that there's no amount of counseling that's going to get you out of them.
Well, and that's the problem. It could be a problem for you, and you could try to be fixing the problem, but you can't change other people. And if the other person doesn't change, then it can't all be on you. And I think that's probably why lots of people get divorced.
Yeah, I mean,
The other person has to take that feedback seriously enough to implement it, and try hard doesn't mean like, okay, well, I'm going to let you say what you want to say, but I'm still going to, behave the way that hurts you or frustrates you or makes you feel ignored or invisible or whatever, and not taking those conversations seriously enough to actually implement solutions and work together.
well, and sometimes you do need catalyst. Like, it is my opinion that if you're in a truly committed relationship, not like you've been dating for 6 months or whatever, but like a truly committed relationship, if one side comes to the other and says, I think we should seek couples counseling, they should always say yes.
Well, saying yes is a nice thing. Doing it is actually
Well, yes.
the
I mean,
important part.
But I mean, yes, actually, yes. I mean, it's probably going to be on the person who suggested the couples counseling to figure out like where to go and who to see and stuff like that. But because what they're saying is I see a problem in this relationship. It's fixable if we fix it now. So maybe you want to fix it. I mean, unless you're just so completely checked out anyway that you don't care, and in which case you're a piece of crap, and you should have been the one bringing up couples counseling a while ago.
Well, and I think I have to disagree. I don't know if that person's a piece of crap. They want what they want, and they don't want what they don't want. And sometimes people don't want to fight for the relationship. They don't want to fight for the marriage. They don't want to fight for whatever it is, and their actions speak for them. So, it's that old adage of, talk is cheap. And people show you who they are. People show you what they want. And they can say, I love you or you're important to me. But if their actions don't back that up, then they're actually not doing you or themselves any favors by staying in that, because if they're not going to put in the work.
Yes, but
because relationships are work.
But here's the thing. At least in 21st century times, if you're into a marriage, it's because you fought for it on some level at some point. Like you've shown.
Maybe you just wanted a toaster.
And then that would bring back the piece of crap part. If you've cared enough about it at some point to be fight for it, that means you're capable of it. And if you've just lost all your fight, it's because you've allowed, from your perspective, the relationship to get so bad that it's no longer worth fighting for. You should have said something before it got to that point.
Well, and sometimes people do. I have to say, I think I take issue with if you bring something up, you need to make it happen. I think that's sometimes the problem, and especially with female-male dynamics, and especially too, I've seen this happen many, many times, is the guy throws the money at the problem, but it's the woman that has to do the thing. And sometimes that's the woman's issue, is like, I did all the work. Like you talk about raising a family and raising kids or whatever, and you popped in when it was convenient for you. So, saying that the one person has to, if it's their idea, they have to do the work. I think sometimes that's the problem, is that there was not shared work, that there wasn't shared responsibility, that there wasn't shared goals in working together, that it was like, oh, you do that.
Well, then that's a complete failure to communicate. And you weren't on the same page as your significant other. And that's, you know me in communication. I believe in it heavily, and I would far rather communicate too much stuff to you than not enough. And often I do.
Yeah. But it was an interesting to see basically the three relationships that had run their course. One with Peter's dad leaving Peter's mom when he was 85 years old. One of them, Peter getting served with divorce papers from his wife after 35 years and fighting against it, forever saying, even when he was burying his dad, saying to his wife, like, can I be buried with you? Are you dating anybody? Can I be buried with you?
That's maybe not the best time and place to be bringing up all of that. I mean, the truth of the matter is if you're truly split up, like if you're really split up, don't ask your ex if they're dating someone. Just assume they are. Yes, they're dating someone.
Yeah, and if the woman, Maria, initiated the divorce, she wants to move on. So putting her on the spot of, are you dating anyone, and can I move in with you? It's basically the same as, can I spend eternity with you with my ashes or my body being right next to you? Like, don't do that to people. What would you do? I would never put someone in that situation, because you're locking them into what they were actually actively trying to get out of. They don't want to be with you.
Yeah, here's your what would you do for me. If you want to spend eternity with someone, put in enough work to make them want it too until they're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's well said.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.